Hey everyone, Alex here. In this breakdown, we'll explore a track created by producer Øneheart and see how Efx AMBIENT is used throughout the project to shape its atmosphere and character. The arrangement blends plucky melodic elements, evolving pads, textured layers and a steady bass foundation, all enhanced with ambient and granular style processing to create depth, motion and contrast. We'll go through each sound, look at how the effects are applied and see how they support the structure and emotion of the track. Before we begin, let's listen to an excerpt of the full composition. The first sound we'll focus on is the main pluck, which carries one of the central melodic patterns in the track. On its own, the sound is tight and defined, but multiple instances of Efx AMBIENT are used to gradually reshape its tone and spatial character across the arrangement. Let's first hear the pluck on its own. The first Efx AMBIENT instance uses a grainy style preset running in reflect mode. The dry-wet parameter is fully set to 100% with around 15% of space, giving the sound a scattered grain jumping character that moves loosely around the beat. This effect isn't present in the first 8 bars. Instead, it's introduced around bar 9, where the wet signal is automated from 0% up to full, adding motion and width as the section develops. There is also an automation on the octave parameter in the tone section, which rises towards the end of the pattern, adding extra harmonic character from the reflect engine and giving the pluck more presence and complexity. Together, this instance helps the sound evolve from a dry melodic element into a more animated and textural layer. Another instance on this pluck uses a preset called Cache Crush. Here the wet signal is again gradually introduced, reaching its peak at around bar 9. From that point on, the tone mix is automated up and down, giving the pluck subtle shifts in colour and density over time. Rather than dramatically transforming the sound, this instant creates ongoing variation, helping the repeat pattern feel more alive and less static in the mix. The final instance on the pluck uses the chaotic release preset, which brings a more spacious, echoing ambient character. Interestingly, this one works in reverse compared to the others. At the very beginning of the track, the effect is fully wet, adding a washed atmospheric quality that softens the pluck and lowers the initial tension. As the arrangement approaches bar 9, the wet signal is gradually reduced to 0, revealing the dry pluck more clearly just as the track gains energy. This creates a natural sense of lift and definition as the section progresses. The next sound is an additional pluck layer playing a similar melody, but adding another tonal flavour. One instance here uses the grain accents patch, which appears at the end of every 4-bar phrase. It briefly introduces a grainy texture that spices up the transition and keeps the pattern from feeling too repetitive. Another instance adds a huge reverberant tail at the end of a section, creating a wide, blooming ambience that helps the track breathe and transition smoothly into the next part. The final instance uses the Attic Memories preset, a hazy, degraded, and slightly saturated preset. Its wet signal increases towards the end of the phrase, giving the pluck a lo-fi, washed character that supports the more melancholic tone of the arrangement. Next, we have a pad that provides harmonic support and establishes a calm, stoic mood in the background. Both macro controls, along with the space mix and tone mix, evolve over time. Macro 1 is introduced early, then pulled back, and later brought in again. Macro 2 starts more static and gradually becomes more active. At the end of the phrase, both space mix and tone mix rise significantly, pushing the pad into a nearly full wet state. This creates a lush, enveloping wash that helps close the section and transition smoothly. The bass provides a steady foundation throughout the track. An Efx Ambient instance using the Losing Bits preset is introduced gradually from around the middle of the arrangement and becomes more noticeable towards the end. This preset adds a data compression style crackle and a slightly metallic, resonant edge to the bass. As the wet signal increases, the bass gains character and texture, helping it stand out more while still maintaining its supportive role. The first instance uses the Stutter Game patch, a glitchy preset built around the Woven engine, with tone mix at 60%, space mix at 30%, and dry wet mix at 100%. It transforms the sharp, plucky input into a buffer error style stuttering texture. This gives the track a digital experimental layer that contrasts with the more tonal elements. A second instance pushes the sound even further into the background, using high space and tone settings along with a fully wet mix. This creates a washy atmospheric layer that sits behind the mix, adding depth and a sense of space without drawing focus. Together, these two instances turn a simple melodic line into a complex, evolving textural element. And that concludes the breakdown. This project shows how Efx Ambient can be used not just as a spatial effect, but as a creative tool for shaping tone, movement, and emotional development across a track. Thanks to the producer Øneheart for his beautiful composition, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure to like, subscribe, and check out the channel for more educational content. See you next time.